Guys, do you have any questions regarding yesterday's session? Okay, hope you people have no questions. Okay, so yesterday we discussed about database connector. So anybody get chance to work with? I was saying like through Postman. So hit some data, right? So get the dynamically and load into the database connector. I was saying like that, right? Anybody get chance to work on
Venkat,
that?
I'm getting an echo of your voice actually.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now properly?
Yeah, I guess so.
So anybody else facing same issue? Ramya and Smita? Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, Venkat, it's good now.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So yesterday I was saying some use case, right? So get dynamic data through Postman or else any other REST client you can use it. You can hit the data and load into the Postman or load into the database connector. I was saying like that, right? So anybody get chance to work on that? Okay, fine. So I'm saying same thing actually here. So here, so yesterday I was saying with static data, so means hard coded data I was saying. So we can pass the dynamic data also here. So it's just I'm giving simple example here. So yesterday we discussed about the parameterized thing. So now here it's a dynamic data. Okay. So here my requirement is I want to fetch the data from the backend. Okay, it's a select operation. So but so here I'm passing the where condition that filter criteria from coming from the user input actually. So that is it's totally manual expression only. So the last name getting from the user input. So based on the user input, I'm filtering the employees data based on the filter action. Okay. After that, once get the data, I'm trying to use some transformer. There is a built-in transformer is there. Now using that built-in transformer, I'm trying to convert into the object to the JSON actually. So there is a transformer already built-in transformer is there. So using that, so I'm trying to convert into the JSON format. What are the records I'm getting, right? Based on the last name, we are getting the records from the employee table. So after getting that, we are just converting into the JSON format. So that is I was trying to show here. So that is it's a yesterday we discussed about a parameterized query. Here three types of queries are there. So this is a dynamic query. So this is a parameterized query, dynamic query. Actually, what was the difference between these two? Here actually in Java, so there is a concept called statement, prepared statement. Okay, these are the interfaces in Java, and then next one is callable statement. So like this, we have three types of statements are there: statement, prepared statement, and again callable statement. So if you remember in prepared statement, how we pass the query in Java. So in statement you will pass as it is actually. So whatever the query you are getting, so we will send as it is actually. Select star from employee where some emp is like that, or else if you are inserting some data, insert into okay, insert into emp. So here we'll pass that um, some column names will pass it like id, name, and then salary I'm passing here. In case of values, in case of values, we'll pass the values here in case of statement actually. So that is nothing but 101 is an ID, next one is name is some within that is a string actually, all are varchars only, that is something nothing but Mule. Next one some 50,000 I'm passing. So we'll pass like this actually in statement, but in prepared statement how we'll pass this. Okay, same query will pass bit different way. Observe here, in place of here we'll pass the question mark guys. It's a bit different. In place of here I'm just passing the where condition also here. So like this we'll pass it actually. Where we'll set the data, below actually we have a set int, next one is set string. We'll put like this guys, set string, next one is set double. We'll pass like this in the bottom, then we'll fill the values actually. Inside we'll fill the values. What is the difference between these two? And then one more thing is callable statement. So I'm trying to compare the Java guys. Callable statement. So here totally procedure. So it's a separate thing actually. We'll call the procedure and we'll execute in parameter out parameter like that. So this is a thing actually. Here a difference is why people are preferring prepared statement apart from this statement. So here, so this is more secure than this guys. Why? Because here, so in the bottom, here, whatever you are sending, right? So we are not sending direct values actually. Okay. Suppose here is the problem actually. In place of here, if you are doing any mistake, or else if there is any where query, if there is any where query, if you in where query if you do mistake, so even though if that's satisfied, it will execute this query guys. But in case of here, if you are doing mistake, right, so here we are not passing anything actually. So in place of value we are passing that question mark symbol. Okay, in the bottom we are clearly mentioned actually, if it is an integer we have a method called set integer, if it is a string we have a method called set string. So we have a if it is a double we have a set double. Then here we'll pass that actually. So column number 1, then that value. So next column number 2, so then that values, and the column number 3, then this value actually. So that's why people are prefer. So internally also this is more secure than this. So that's why people are preferring prepared statement apart from this statement. So here also same thing guys. Internally these people return. So whatever the data, whatever the connector guys, if you see in the palette, whatever the connector, all the connectors are built in Java code only. Okay. So if you want to see the code of each connector, so this is available in the Git. You can open it and you can look into it actually. Okay. So here, whatever they written the logic for this dynamic and parameterized and then from template. So here parameterized is more secure than the other actually. So that's why people are keep on using parameterized only. Okay. So that is a difference. Internally it will go like a whatever the Java code is, right? If you see here, so whoever aware of Java, so they can they will send like this only actually. So if you write any database connection between Java and your backend like MySQL or else Oracle, something like that, so they will they will pass like this actually, how many values you are going to insert. So that many question marks we have to keep it. In the bottom they will send the value. So here also same thing, if you pass the parameterized query, internally work like that actually, how prepared statement are working in Java. Similar manner here prepared here parameterized query also it will work. And then here we are discussing about dynamic query thing. So here I'm fetching the data, so then I'm passing that where condition here, so as a dynamically, so getting from the user itself. Okay, once getting, so then I'm trying to convert into the JSON. So that's what I'm doing here. So if you want me to execute, I will execute this one. So debug as Mule application. I'll keep the debug also. This is already running, so that's why we are getting 6666 port number conflict. So we can stop it and start once again, or else we can change the port number. So these are my backend table, so employee table. So based on the last name we are fetching the data, so I will take some last name is first one, PUCKETT, deployed. This is a get query, right? So we can pass the through, you can head the request through browser also, because it's a get request. HTTP localhost, and then port number is 7032. There is no path. Okay, so then there is no path, guys. That's why I'm not passing anything here. So then last name equal some PU TT. It's that one, PUCKETT. Semicolon I kept. And okay, I got the request. So see this, where I will check the parameter. So here, guys, so query parameter, right? You can see here, list of query parameter. So then we are getting only one query parameter, that is last name is equal PUCKETT. So we need to filter based on that, right? So next level. So it went database, and it will fetch two records are there, guys. So the first time is, so according to my query, so what are the parameters I'm getting? So two parameters, I guess. So one is first name, yeah, only first name I'm trying to get it. But so matching records are, two records are there in the backend. Okay, see this, guys, I'm getting two records actually. Same here also I'm getting, so my through MuleSoft also I'm getting two records. You can see in that debug mode the size of that, the payload size is 2. So the first name is Java and another one is Quentin. So after that, what I'm trying to do it, so this is returning some hash map, guys. The backend always written some map actually. So you can pass the key, then we can get the value actually if it is like that. So first name is, and the first name is Quentin. So then I'm converting into the JSON actually, that is displaying in the browser itself. See here, we are getting a JSON array because it's multiple records, right? So this is the thing, guys. So any questions on this? So simple thing, I'm just getting the records from the database based on the user input criteria, filter criteria. Once I got it, I'm just converting to the JSON. So that too, it's a dynamic query. It's not parameterized query. It's a dynamic query. That is, a query type is different. Okay. Next one is, that is database JSON is done. Insert parameterized query. Yeah, again one more thing is, it's a parameterized query. So again here I'm passing a dynamic thing. Yesterday we passed as a static. So now I'm passing the dynamic. Observe here. Here in my request is I have to pass the dynamic values in the database connector. So values is in the flow, in the variables I'm setting all the values. From the variable I was picking up, guys. Okay. So where I'm setting the variables, there is expression component is there, guys. Earlier we already discussed actually expression component. In the expression component we can define multiple values. Okay, this is the expression component. It will support that whole Java code also. So I'm just trying to open the expression. So here, observe here, I'm defining the flow variables actually. So it's an expression, it says text area, guys. You can write a lot of Java code here. So I'm just hard coding here actually in the expression component, first name, last name, and telephone number and email ID. Okay, so I'm taking that values. So from input I'm not getting anything actually. In the expression only I'm hard coded all these things. So I'm setting up to the variables. Okay, observe here different ways of defining variables, guys. Here one way is through expression you can define it. Another way is, originally we can use set variable. Okay, another way is there is a concept called message properties, guys. So that day we discussed about that one. So if you want to define multiple variables in a single shot, right, so you can define, we'll take the message properties. This is the component. So you can use that, you can define it several parameters at a time. So we can remove the parameter, we can rename the parameter, all these things you can achieve the message properties. So in this particular case, I'm using expression component. In the expression, I'm defining the flow variables. I'm trying to assign the data here. So that data I'm pulling from the query here itself. There is a parameterized query. So that is nothing but inserting to employee. So syntax, query syntax as it is I'm passing. So values. So these all should be dynamic, guys. So first name, comma, last name, comma, and then telephone number and email ID. So whatever you are defining there, right, in the expression. So the two variable. So how will fetch the variable? Flow vars, guys. So using mel expression, hash symbol, floor bracket, flow vars dot first name, flow vars dot last name. So this syntax is based on the component, guys. So if you observe, last time we discussed about data wave actually. So once again we'll discuss that data wave. So in the data wave, the syntax little bit different, guys. So not required to keep any floor bracket and hash symbol, square bracket and hash symbol there actually. So directly flow vars dot variable name, that's it. You will get it done. So, but so here other components apart from the data wave. So all the components should return like this only. So hash symbol, then square bracket. So flow var start variable name. If it is a session variable, session var start variable name we have to give. So that is about that. So then after that I'm trying to convert it to the JSON. I'm trying to log the response. Okay. So any questions on this? So this is a parameterized query. Yesterday already we discussed about this. but yesterday we discussed about it's a static data, but in this case I'm defining another component. In that I put it, I'm getting dynamically in the database connector. Okay. Next another one is so different query. If you want me to execute, I can execute, guys. It's the same thing. So another one is insert template query, guys. This one also we'll see. Insert template query. So previously we discussed about dynamic query and then parameterized query. So third one is parameterized query. Observe here, guys. So in the project, if you define one-time MySQL configuration, every time you can use it, guys. So every time you can use it. So in the project actually. So if you define once, suppose here I am defining first time. So every time no need to define once again because all the flows are within a project, right? I told about that. What was that? So that global element, right? If you define a once, so you can use multiple times actually. See here, there is a global element, right? So you can define a global element, you can edit it, you can delete it. So I already defined here, so that's why multiple times. That too actually yesterday we discussed about bit different way, guys. Okay, now see here, I'm trying to pass the database URL actually. Why because yesterday we discussed about, if you see here, I'm trying to add one more database connector. I'm just clicking the create. So here you discussed about MySQL configuration, guys. If you click here, it was asking like this: host name, port name, user, password, database, and then MySQL driver dependency. But whereas in here, I'm not choosing that, guys. I'm choosing database URL. Observe here, there is a different ways you can write it, guys. If you are familiar with this, you can add it. If you are familiar with a single URL, right? So then you can pass the URL also, simple URL. So same thing here while creating time. So there is a, suppose think like this, there is no specific database connector for particular database, right? So you are using some think like this, MS Access also database, right? Think like this, there is no connector for connecting the MS Access, right? So for that purpose, there is a generic database connector is there, guys. Generic database configuration, we can choose the generic database configuration. So what I'm saying here, if the database is there like Oracle and MySQL, okay, Oracle and MySQL, there then we have a direct connector here. So if you are talking about Oracle, we have a Oracle connector, okay. If you are talking about MySQL, we have a MySQL connector, okay. So apart from that, so if you have a Derby, then we have a MS Access is also database. We have so many databases in the market, right? So if you want to connect other databases, okay, so there is a connector called generic connector, guys, generic database connection configuration. So this we have to choose it, generic database configuration. So here we will pass the URL, guys, URL and the driver class name. What was the driver class name for that database, and again what was the URL for that? So same thing I'm using here. I'm trying to edit this one existing thing. See here, same thing, whatever you passing yesterday, right? Similar manner, but it's total URL actually here. So internally, if you pass like that also, internally it will frame the URL. But here we already frame the URL, then we are providing that. So JDBC MySQL, so localhost 3306, and then company, username is generated data and password is generated data. So whole thing we are providing in a URL itself, username, password, and database name, and again company name, and again port number. Everything we are passing in a single URL, and then driver name also we are passing here actually. So that is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. So that's it. You can test the connection. Not giving error. The connection failed. So try to access method. Main map. see guys, this is not the issue actually. Okay, so let's see, let's try to connect with that. Okay, so this is a select query. Sorry, where is this one? Insert template query. So this is a template query type. Query type is a bit different. So here, so it's a template series from template. Previously we discussed about parameterized and dynamic. Now from template. So see this for template. So whenever choose that, so the below bottom GUI got different guys based on here. So if you choose dynamic, you will get here. If you choose parameters, you will get here. If you choose parameterize, if you choose from template, you will get one more pop-up actually here. So the template query reference. So then here we need to add it actually all these things. So there is one more pop-up will come here. So parameterized. So then employee, first name, last name, telephone number, values. Okay, so then observe here how we are passing here. First name, last name, telephone, email, then values. We want to pass with colon guys. Colon first name, comma colon last name, comma colon telephone, and then colon mail. So where you are setting the data in the bottom guys. Observe here. So email, first name, last name, telephone. So here it will support the mail guys. It will support the mail or else I just hard coded here as of now. So as of now I just hard coded it actually. So but it will support the mail expression. Is it clear guys? So this is the way you have to use from template actually. Okay. These are so from template type actually similar only, but in the bottom we can pass the data here. That is the difference. Email, first name, last name, telephone. How many parameters we have to set in the bottom? So we can set it guys. So we can set number of parameters. So if you click plus, so we can keep on add that actually. If you don't want it, so if you select particular parameter, so then I can click the into symbol, into mark symbol, then it will close it actually. If you want to increase, you can click the plus symbol. So any questions on this? This is the parameter, sorry, these are from template type. Seven zero two insert. So where you are inserting, the employee itself I'm inserting guys. Okay, got the request. Let's see. See here guys, I'm getting so one. So means what? So means it got success, and then so it's and back with one or zero. If it is one, it got inserted. If it is zero, it's not inserted. So that is the meaning of that. So because database written one or zero. So next one is plus. So trying to convert it to the JSON. Okay, so here you can see that one actually because the record got inserted successfully, then it will return one. So any queries on this? Three types of queries guys. So one is dynamic, another one is parameterized, third one is template. You can use any type, but frequently used type is parameterized query because that is more secure than other ways. So any questions guys as of now? Okay, so if we have no questions, then we'll go for another concept. So that is nothing but a stored process, guys. That one also we'll discuss. This is according to yesterday discussion. So when people prefer stored procedures, okay. So there is a lot of logic in the backend. So that too, we can avoid joins, guys. We'll write some so combination of tables will merge it. We'll write the inner joins, right? So we'll avoid that inner join, left outer join. So like that, we have a joins concept is there, no? So we'll avoid that joins. Okay, so people will write the backend procedure. So the procedure means it's a combination of tables, guys. So while writing a query, okay, we have to check with the user table, the user is existing or not. So next one is I want to fetch some dollar amount from the particular table, another table that is nothing but related to finance, you can say. Okay, the dollar amount I have to fetch from the finance table. So then there is one more table for some other information. So we'll talk to that table also. So the whole tables will talk. Will talk. So then finally we'll prepare out parameters. Okay. So that is nothing but a amount and again access level. Okay. So user that particular user have access or not. So that all the things that is whatever the calculation you are doing, that calculation will send back as out parameters, guys. So means so the procedure so will avoid the joins and all. So if they are not writing procedure from our end, we need to write it, guys. We need to write so the complex procedure, complex joins, right? So complex joins we need to write it actually. So for avoiding that, so we are working on the database, right? The database people will provide procedure with in parameter and out parameter. Okay, so while initial time at least they will give the dummy procedure. Based on that we'll start coding. So end of the day they should give the procedure. So then we need to start work on that, guys. So for the time we have a option called stored procedure, guys. This is a stored procedure option, one of the operation under database connector. So here how will do the procedure thing. Observe here, guys. Here a bit different than that actually, normal query and again this. So here first we need to set up everything backend, guys. Whatever the procedure here, right? So because we are calling the procedure, right? So that's why first we need to set up the backend. Whatever the backend we are using, so that backend we need to set up it. So how to set up it, so how to create the procedure and all, we should know that at least little bit. So generally, so here middleware is a bit challenging thing actually. So because the procedure guy not yet start his work. Okay, whoever working on GUI, these people also not start work. But as a middleware, so we should not depend on others. We should start our work actually with a dummy, with markup data. At least with markup data, we need to start it actually. So that's why as a basic procedure will create at backend. So then whenever the original procedure will get it done, so then we'll get override, guys. So that's why we should know the little bit other things also, because of we should not depend on others. We'll finish our code as early as possible. Once the original thing is come into the picture, so that time we'll override it, and that time we have to do unit test kind of thing. Okay, so that is the thing here. So here is this is a procedure. So here in parameter out parameter concept, guys. In parameter means what we are going to give to the procedure actually. So whatever the things you are going to give to the procedure, so that we have to pass it as an in type. Whatever the parameters we are getting from the procedure, right? That's a returning procedure. That is nothing but a out parameter, guys. There is a terminology is a bit different. So if you open the connector, so you can observe here actually. Okay, so observe here how to create the procedure. Also, I have a syntax. I'll share you. So the procedure node. So this is a way to create the procedure, guys. Delimited. Okay, double slash. So then we have to create a procedure. Create procedure. Get employee ID. And then here I'm passing in out. So actually in parameter is there, out parameter is there. But what is by in out? In out means the person ID, it will act as a both the things, guys. It will act as a in parameter as well as out parameter. The meaning of that one, that is the thing actually. So the person ID, it will take as a in parameter. We are passing the value. So similar manner, so we have to get the value also. So that's why we mention as a, so type as in out. Okay. So next one is out. Last name is an out. So based on that we have to get the last name and then first name and first name. So similarly address, all the things are on parameters, guys. Observe here how we are writing the query here. Select star from employee persons where person ID equal person ID. Okay. So from the persons table, wherever the person ID we are getting from the user input, right? So that is an in parameter as well as out parameter. If you pass the in parameter, we take that, so that it will filter the procedure, then we will get the values, guys. So this is a creation of procedure. Once created successfully, we will get the, so query okay 0 was affected. So now after that, so if you call the procedure, so I'm passing, this is the thing, guys. Call get employee ID of that employee ID, then we'll get the result, guys. So same thing we are trying to achieve through MuleSoft service actually. So here I just written a query here in the MySQL backend itself. So we are calling the procedure, so then we are passing the person ID, then we are fetching the data, guys. But whereas in, so here, so for that only we are writing MuleSoft service, we are fetching the data. Observe here how we are passing here. So call procedure, similar way here how we'll call the procedure, same way we're going to call same thing. So that is a parameterized call procedure name. So in the procedure name we are passing person ID, last name, first name, address, city, guys. We have to pass this is a syntax of that colon person ID colon username, last name, and again first name. What are the parameters are there? All parameters, guys. Either it's in parameter or out parameter, whatever it is, we have to pass like that. Once you do that, so then so we have to add parameters below actually. So that is a dynamic value here. You can observe here. So there's a parameter name is we have to mention here. Next one is in out, guys. There is a drop down is there. So initially it won't visible initially. So whenever you click there, it will visible as visible. So three things are there. So one is in parameter, out parameter. Third one is in out parameter. You can say what type of parameter once we define. If you click plus, it will create the new variable, right? So once you define it, you have to clarify it. So what type of parameter it is, either it's in parameter, out parameter, or it's in out parameter. So that we have to tell them, tell that to the connector. So next one is here, value, guys. It will support the, it's a mel syntax, it will support it. Then you have to pass the values. So because here it's output parameters, that's why no need to pass anything because we are fetching from the procedure itself, right? So no need to pass the value there. But whereas in here, if it is in parameter, so or else in out parameter, we need to pass the value, right? So that value I passed here. So next one is here. So we can see, guys, return type. Coming to return type, we have lots of return types out there, guys. So club, blab, club, all these things are there. So similarly, varchar, all are there. So you can choose that what type of parameter you are going to insert it, and again in the database what type of return type of each parameter we have to check it. We have to pass in the way, guys. Otherwise it will give SQL exception. Okay. So here, so I choose it as a varchar, guys, because so it's a string is better than other parameter, other things actually, because so if you are choosing any date kind of thing, so we have to we will write I mean extra logic to convert into proper date format and all, right? Because of servers, our servers are different zones, right? Time zones, EDT, ET, next GMT, like that. Different zones are there, right? We need to write extra logic. Actually, if you write the varchar, if you keep it a varchar, there is no nothing actually. So simply you have to keep it a varchar. So it will take any value if you keep it as a varchar. So that's why I mentioned a varchar here. So that is the thing, guys. Once it will execute it, so it will execute in the procedure itself. Okay. So any questions on this? This is a parameter. This is a procedure thing. Stored procedure. Give me a moment, guys. Okay. So guys, any questions? I'll try to execute this one. So see this, guys, I'm getting using that procedure, I'm getting almost 7 records actually, because of same ID is there for each and everything. 1, 1, 2. So filtering, I guess. See this, guys, we are getting almost all the records we are getting. So actually these are wrong, guys, because here this should be primary key. Actually I didn't keep the primary key, that's why we're getting all these things. TSC employees, persons. Okay, so that is the thing. Actually here I person ID I didn't keep it as a primary key, that's why we're getting all the values. Even if you are passing the 101 also, we're fetching all the records. So if you keep it properly in the backend, so it will get it, guys. So that is the thing. Actually once you are write the procedure, so then so based on your procedure you have to pass that in parameter out parameter thing. So we're getting almost all parameters as out parameter, guys. Last name, first name, address, city, as well as person ID also out parameter, right? Because it will access both in parameter and out parameter. So that is the thing, we are getting all the records. Because here we are converting into the JSON, right? That's why it was converting as a JSON format. Okay. So that is about database, guys. So insertion, updation, and selection, as well as processing. So mostly if it is a complex thing, so then people will go for procedure, guys. If it is a simple thing, then we'll use normal queries, select, upset operation. It's kind of insert and then create, update and create. It is upset means. Okay, so any queries on this about the database connector? Just go through it. Because of each and every application definitely we get one database subflow. At least we need to write as a subflow, database subflow. Okay, so practice on that. So if you have any questions, we'll discuss once again. Any questions on this database? Okay, guys, so tomorrow we'll discuss about exception handling. So suppose here you are giving wrong credentials. Suppose here something like I'm passing wrong data here. So show password else, I'm just sending wrong data. See this? It was written clearly SQL exception, guys. Okay, now so java.sql exception dot cannot connection for URL it was saying. So this type of exception, how we'll handle it actually? How we'll handle this type of exceptions? So we'll see the exception handling part. So once we'll get the exception, okay. So as a middleware guy, we will understand that one, right? So we are getting a SQL exception. So that's why we are unable to connect to the database. But how GUI guy will know? We have to send back that message to the GUI guy, right? So that how we'll frame it, how we'll send back to that SQL exception to the user. So based on that, next time he will correct the user ID password. Suppose even he is sending user ID password also, somebody suddenly change in the back end, right, the password, or else he removed the rights for that particular user, right? So then he will face the issue, right? That type of issues we need to tell them, right? So boss, you are facing this issue, so this is the exception you are getting from the backend, right? We have to send back to the user, right? So that how we'll handle it. So we'll see that tomorrow. So here, so there is a concept called error handling, guys. Just now I mean from starting onwards we are discussing about flows only. So if you see here bottom, there is a error handling is that. So as of now all the flows it's empty. So we'll discuss that one also, how we'll handle that exception. Anything goes wrong in this flow, something goes wrong in the database connection because it's another endpoint we are talking to, so another endpoint. So that endpoint might be down, right? So here everything is in my local host, guys. So that's why mostly network issues won't get it. But if it is a real time, so yeah, that server, that MySQL server is somewhere else, right? We have to pass the remote address and all, right? If suddenly that MySQL server down or else anything goes wrong, right? Database credentials change, so this flow get error, right? It won't execute it, right? So that time, so anything goes wrong in this flow, then it will go to the error handling part, guys. In the error handling, we have to handle that exception actually. Suppose we are getting SQL exception, so we have to mention the detailed reason for that actually, right? So that we have to capture it. We have to send back to the GUI. We are talking, we are consuming our services. We need to send them, right? So that is the thing. So actually here the concept is in the Java also there exception handling, right? So in the Java, there is a two types of things actually, error and then exception, guys. Error and exception. So what is the difference between error and exception? So error is anything getting error. And so in the flow, in the particular flow, we are getting some error, right? Suppose we are getting some syntax error. Okay, syntax error we're getting. So we should correct that syntax error, guys, until unless we can't go ahead to the next level. So because that's a syntax error, or else if you're getting any network error, bandwidth high, or else so I mean it goes to heap space is goes to the heap level, so then we should release that memory, right? So the type of network issues will get it. So if we get that error, we should resolve it until unless we can't able to go next level, guys, right? So that's why that is the error. I mean, if you get error, we should resolve it actually. But whereas an exception, if you get an exception, so we can handle it, guys. No need to resolve it actually. So that is a concept of Java actually. If you are getting exception also, we have a concept called try. Okay, this is a concept called try catch finally, guys. In the try catch finally, what we'll do, so in the try black, so whatever the wherever you suspecting, this is the reason we are getting that exception. So wherever you are suspecting the code, that code you can keep it in the try black, guys, or else whole code also you can keep it in the try black. So next one is catch black. So what happened? So whatever the exception you are getting here, so that exception going to handle in catch black. Okay. So in the try black, so we can keep the whole code also, or else if you are aware wherever you are getting that error, right, exception, right, so we can keep it in the try black. So then in the catch black we'll catch that exception, we'll handle accordingly. So then we'll in finally black we'll close that all the connections, guys. If you are opening any connections like database connection, if you open it, we'll close that in the finally black. So each and every try black should followed by multiple cache flags, not only one cache flag, guys. You can write based on your requirement, multiple cache flags are also you can write it. But whereas in so finally is an optional, guys. If you write it, it will execute it. If you not write it also, so no issue, it won't give any error. So finally is an option. Okay, so we'll see tomorrow, guys, about more on error and exception. Okay, what type of errors are there, what type of exceptions are there, so what type of built-in exception, and again how to create our custom exception. So all these things we'll discuss. After that we'll start so flows, guys. The flows, how we'll handle the error handling. So we have a different exception strategies are there here. So if you open in the palette, So in this panel, if you type exception, right, so we have different types of exception strategies, catch and choice and reference exception strategy and custom exception strategy. Like that, we have so many exception strategies out there. So we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. So guys, any questions? Hello, guys, can you hear me? Somehow.
Yes, right.
So any questions? Okay, so hope we are good. So okay guys, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow. I'll share the recording once done. You're getting all the recordings, right?
Venkat, I had a problem with my mail ID.
Okay. So you shared another one, right?